Look at his hands. 20 years old, the best footballer who will ever live is about to become, and he is holding a baby like it might break. September 2007, a dressing room at the Camp Nou. Someone has filled a plastic tub with warm water and handed Lionel Messi a 6-month-old boy for a charity calendar. He doesn't know where to put his hands. He's shy, he laughs, nervous. The baby doesn't cry. Nobody in that room knew what they were looking at. That the shy kid would become the greatest of all time. That the baby, a boy named Lamine Yamal, would grow up to wear the same shirt, at the same club, and carry the same impossible weight. And that 19 years later, they would stand on opposite sides of the halfway line in a World Cup final for the right to be champions of the world. This is the story of a photograph that became a prophecy, and a final that football could not have written better itself. For years, almost no one had seen it. The picture sat in an old charity calendar printed to raise money for children through UNICEF and Barcelona's own foundation. The man who took it didn't even remember the baby's name. Just another squad shoot, warm water, a plastic tub, a few awkward smiles. Then, in the summer of 2024, a teenager tore through the European Championship, beating grown men like they were training cones, and someone realized who the baby in that old photo had been. And the internet stopped, because there he was, the greatest player who ever lived, cradling the child who would inherit his throne, 17 years before anyone could have known. You could not stage it. You could not script it. Understand what he was playing for. Lionel Messi was 39 years old, and everyone in the stadium knew it was the last time. The last World Cup. The last walk out of that tunnel with a nation on his back. He had already rewritten the record books. The all-time leading scorer in the history of the World Cup. He had scored in 7 consecutive World Cup matches, something no footballer in 96 years had ever done. And when Argentina looked finished in the semi-final, a goal down to England with 5 minutes left, it was Messi who dragged them back from the dead. The equalizer, then the winner, in stoppage time. 2 touches, 2 assists, a nation still breathing. In the final, he became only the second man in history, after Brazil's Cafu, to play in 3 World Cup finals. And he was chasing something almost no one achieves. Argentina were the champions, and no country had retained the World Cup since Brazil in 1962. Back to back. The line that separates the great from the immortal, and on the other side of the halfway line stood the baby. Lamine Yamal was 19 years old. When he walked out, he was the 3rd youngest player ever to appear in a World Cup final, and the only 2 younger than him were named Pelé and Giuseppe Bergomi. That was the company he kept now. He grew up in a working-class town outside Barcelona, scouted as a child. He wore the same badge Messi wore for 20 years. 2 summers earlier, the day after his 17th birthday, he had won the European Championship and become the youngest player ever to lift a major international trophy. In this tournament, he had been Spain's spark, the boy who ran at defenders until they fouled him. The man who bathed him was trying to hold on. The boy was trying to take it. And the strangest part is that neither of them chose this story. It chose them 19 years earlier in a dressing room with a tub of warm water. There was another layer to this, older than either of them. Argentina and Spain played this final in the same language. Spain, La Madre Patria, the mother country, against the nation her ships reached 5 centuries ago. A family in a way. And families produce the fiercest finals of all. Here is the astonishing part. In 96 years of World Cups, Argentina and Spain had met exactly once. A group game, the 13th of July, 1966. Argentina won it, 2-1. 60 years before, almost to the week. They had never met in a knockout match, never in a final. Of all the ways these 2 giants could have finally collided, football saved it for the biggest stage that exists, and saved it for last, and Spain were no sentimental subplot. They were the European champions. They had not lost a competitive match since March of 2023. Across the whole tournament, they had conceded a single goal. Argentina arrived on comebacks and heartbeat. Spain arrived like a machine that had forgotten how to break. So that was the final. A photograph come to life. A man saying goodbye and a boy saying hello on the one night the whole world was watching. The champions against the champions. The mother country against her child. The torch held high in a tired hand, and the young one reaching. Only one of them would hold it at the end, and the torch passed in front of our eyes. For 90 minutes, nothing. Argentina, down to 10 men after Enzo Fernández was sent off, dug the trench of their lives and did not manage a single shot on target in the entire final. But Spain kept coming, wave after wave, until the dam broke. The 106th minute, extra time, Ferran Torres swept in from close range, and that was the World Cup. Spain 1-0, champions of the world for the second time. When the whistle went, it was the baby, 19 years old now, standing in a shower of confetti, a champion of the world. And somewhere on that field, the man who bathed him watched his own last World Cup end, not with a trophy, but with a handshake to the future. You will see that 2007 photograph differently now. For years it was a curiosity, a sweet coincidence. It just became something else, a prophecy. The night the greatest player who ever lived cradled the child who would one day take his crown, and then, 19 years later, actually handed it to him, on the only stage grand enough to matter. Lamine Yamal is the youngest to do almost everything he has done. Now he has a World Cup, and Spain have their second star, earned against the champions, in the cruelest, most beautiful way the sport could arrange it. Football rarely gives us endings this clean. A man says goodbye, a boy says hello, and the photo that connected them, 19 years apart, turns out to have been telling us the ending all along. The torch was always going to pass. No one guessed it would be to the baby in the tub. We tell these stories all tournament long. If this one gave you chills, stay with us, because the boy in that photograph is only just beginning.